It ain't easy what we do. Whatever you think of this industry, it is harder than you think. It's never easy to stand on the vanguard of social change, to stand firmly in opposition to the world's most powerful industries and the world's biggest governments. You know, in any other industry, your ideas have to be disruptive if you are going to succeed. In this industry, when our ideas are disruptive, we are labeled dangerous. We are seen as subversive because we are fighting the status quo. And you know what the crazy thing is? Little by little, state by state, country by country, we're winning. But we haven't won yet. We still have a very long way to go. And as an industry, we don't always make it easy for ourselves. You know, the older I get, the more I realize that the professional world is often very unprofessional. And in this industry, more than most. And the truth is, if we're going to have any hope of making this work, we need to be better than the rest. We need to set a higher standard. As an industry, we still need to prove that we can lead by example. And those who will succeed in this industry are those who will rise above the pettiness and the strife, those who will hold tight to a vision and never let go. Those who have succeeded so far have done so because they have not backed down. We are an industry of fighters. You can put us behind bars. They can raid our facilities. They can close our bank accounts. They can fund study after study to try and prove that which cannot be proven because it is not true. We will keep fighting because there is so much to fight for. The crazy thing about cannabis is it has so much potential that, you know, I bet if I asked each and every one of you why you're in this room, you would each tell me a different answer. There's so many reasons to be here and so many reasons to be starting businesses in this space. Personally, I got into this industry for a singular reason, to give the next generation a choice that I never had, a healthier and safer choice. Because when I went to college, we drank, and we drank a lot. It's how we made friends, you know, it's how we socialized. And, you know, every day, every Thursday and Saturday night for 4 years, that's what we did. And the truth is that we were poisoning ourselves. You know, at Princeton University, where I went to undergraduate, we have something called the 21 Club. It's this elite secret society that you can only join if you're able to drink 21 beers in 42 minutes. Yeah, we were poisoning ourselves. And we weren't the only ones, right? Everyone in this room grew up in a world where alcohol has had a monopoly as the only legal psychoactive for social and leisure activities. But that era is going to end. Because I won't stop fighting until we make this a reality. For anyone in the audience who doesn't know me, my name is Duma Winshew, and I started a company in this industry in 2014, became a successful business. I've now moved on to a new adventure, which will bring me even closer to changing the world. And if you are in the audience and you know me, you will know that I have fought very hard for everything that I've achieved in this industry and in my life. Hell, I've even fought for the privilege of being invited here to MC Canna Pitch after Canna Pitch. And this is a very different Canna Pitch than any I've been asked to MC before. In this Canna Pitch, we're seeing an entirely different class of companies. Companies who really represent the true gladiators of this industry. Companies who have proven themselves on the cannabis battlefield, who have, you know, over $1 million in trailing revenues, not bad, that have successfully raised money in the past and who are preparing for one of the biggest challenges that any company in any industry, but specifically this industry, could ever embark on, to be publicly traded in a US stock market. As Randy said, every company that you'll be hearing from today is pitching under the Title IV Regulation A+ of the Jobs Act, which basically means that they can solicit interest in investment from accredited and non-accredited investors alike as they test the waters on their way to becoming a public company. So what does this mean? Well, it means two things. Firstly, if you are not an accredited investor, you can actually register your interest in investing in the IPO, which is pretty exciting. And anyone, accredited investors and non-accredited investors, can invest in that IPO. And secondly, any one of these companies could make history by being among the first in our industry to list publicly on the stock market, but only if they can fight their way past the sharks in our Shark Tank. And it's not going to be easy. These are gentlemen here who really need no introduction, but I'll give them a chance to introduce themselves right now. We will start with Mr. Yazbek.
So my name is Daniel Yazbek. I started my career at Pfizer Pharmaceuticals, and then I joined Panasonic, and I later founded my own company called MyDX. It's currently a publicly traded company on the OTCQB exchange. We make a handheld chemical analyzer for cannabis. It's going to predict a feeling for you and give you the chemical profile, and we're making alternative sensors for pesticides in food, chemicals in water, and toxins in the air, and we're very excited to be here and give these guys some advice on being a publicly traded company or not. So,
my name is Fred Gross. I'm an ex-New York City hedge funder. Entered the space about 2 years ago as an investor. Have moved on now to launching my own financing company called 77th Street Finance. We look to help companies not just in cannabis, but somewhat focused in cannabis in terms of financing their businesses. And very exciting times ahead, I think.
Hi, my name is Robert Hunt, and I've been in this industry for over 20 years at this point, as an operator, as a partial owner of a dispensary, as a executive and director of a publicly traded company in the space, and now most recently as a general partner at what I believe is now the largest 3C1 private equity fund that exists in cannabis. So I've had the opportunity to watch this industry grow from pre-Prop 215 here in California to where we are today.
Chris Bunka. Many of you will probably know me as the CEO and chairman of Lexaria Corp. We have the protein bar and the Vipova line of CBD products, which is mostly a technology company, in fact, because of our patent portfolio. I think what I'm going to try to help the contestants or the people who are competing here this afternoon is that I spent 15 years of my life in private industry and enjoyed some success, and then the last 20 years in the public realm, both in Canada and the United States, and I've been on the speaking tour and all of that. So try to help these guys navigate their way through the go public process.
My name is Ramey Tritt. I'm a physician entrepreneur from Atlanta, Georgia. I took company public and was chairman and president in the mid-90s to 2000. Had that great experience of being public. Been doing early stage, seed stage investing since early 2000. Probably involved in 20 companies. Got involved in the cannabis industry about 3 years ago. Raised a fund about $2.25 million last year. We've now 10 companies in this space and looking at more as we raise more funds.
Hi, I'm Matthew Mills. Lengthy background in capital private infusions. Our company, MedX, is the very first company to take on the tackle that Randy just mentioned, the first company to be approved by the SEC and start a crowdfunding focus. $15 million is being raised right now. Our company is going to spend the money that we raise in this industry and hopefully in this room. So thanks for having us.
Thank you. Look at these sharks. This is not going to be easy. What? You're not. Don't say you're nice. He said they're not. We're not nice today. We're sharks like that. Like on the. That's not nice. And especially you, Chris. You're too nice. Okay. So we are an industry of fighters, but when we fight in this industry, we fight by the rules, wherever that is. All right. And now, if you are ready, the rules of this Canna pitch. Each presenting company will have 8 minutes to pitch. I understand that some of you were told you're going to have a little bit longer. We'll see if I'm feeling generous. If I'm not, I will cut you off. After the pitch, one question per shark. So each of you are going to ask one question. No softballs at any Canna pitch that I MC. No Frank Marino, so no second and third. Yeah, Frank Marino with the second and third is not happening in this time around. We have one question. And the companies will have a chance to answer that question. Then our sharks get to vote. And voting basically entails me asking the sharks two questions. First question, would you invest in this company? And guys, this is a yes or no answer, so we don't want a maybe, and I don't want any qualifications like I would invest if they did X, Y, and Z. It's yes or no, and then you can explain why it's a yes or no. And the second question is, do you think this company is ready to be a public company? And of course, you can say why or why not. And lastly, we turn to you, the audience, and we give you a chance to vote. And the way we do that is I will ask you guys that same two questions. Would you invest in this company? And do you think this company is ready to go public? And you will have a chance to yell out your answers, and the loudest voices will be heard. So, sharks, do you understand the rules? All right. Companies, I know you're out there in the audience. I want to hear you yell. Do you understand the rules? Yes. All right. Gentlemen, ladies, let's make this a fair fight. Good luck, and may the best company win. We will see who that is, but first, the first company to present is going to be Hello MD. Are you guys ready? You're good?
Yeah.
Do you need this?
Well, no, I need this. Hang on.
You're on.
I need this. Hang on 1 second. I got to make myself comfortable here.
It's eating out of your time, by the way.
Actually, it's not. For
We'll
one.
all be the judge of that.
And for two, I'm about to say something nice about you, so
right.
hold on to the clock for 1 second.
All right, all right.
Okay? Just because you were talking about, the notion of the fight that we're in together here, I wanted to just tell a little anecdote about how I got into the industry because it has to do something with Duma. And I think it reflects the kind of collaborative sense we have in this industry that I've never seen before in my life in the industries I've been in. About 15 months ago, I had recently moved to Denver, Colorado. And at the time, I was not in this business. I had a business that I'd been running for many years. But I kind of got the sense that this kind of when in Rome, do as in Romans, and that's all they were talking about in Denver, as they still are today. But I didn't know anybody, and I found Duma online. He was very popular. And we had something in common. We'd both lived in a city, the same city before that. And so I reached out to him, and he took a meeting with me and told me I should definitely get in the industry and introduced me to Randy. I said, I'm trying to get in. I know nothing about it. I've run a bunch of pitch events before. What do you think? And he called Randy and his partners, and he said, you should meet this guy. I think he can help you run the Canna pitch, which I can't remember whether that was the first one or not. And they welcomed me with open arms. I helped them run the Canna pitch in Denver, which was coming up on a year ago. It gave me a great opportunity to meet a ton of people. And really from there, I made my decision to dive all in to the industry, and that's how I became part of this business, Hello MD. And that's how, to this day, my two teenagers at home have the endless joy of telling their friends that their dad's in the pot business. Okay, that was all.
All right, we're going to start your time now.
Yeah.
Ready?
All right. What are we using here for? We're using this. Okay, great. So, I'm Larry. I lead all the business development efforts for Hello MD. And as a result, I crisscross the country these days. And I find lately that I talk to a lot of companies and a lot of investors who are increasingly turning their attention almost exclusively to the cannabis recreational market. And I get that. I understand why. And I think, part of the success we have in filling today's room is what's coming down the pipe in that market. But for us at HelloMD, since we launched last year, our vision, our focus has always been, and perhaps increasingly now with every month that we're in business, the emergence of the health and wellness market. Think about the big picture for a minute. The health and wellness market, the mainstream one that is often referred to as the next, if not already, $1 trillion global market. In the US alone, it's estimated that just women spend $40 billion a year on alternative medicines, a segment, by the way, that is often used as an excellent analog to medical cannabis. But perhaps the greatest reason for our conviction for the market is something that none of us really have to look too far to find. And that's that in America today, we have proven an insatiable appetite for any product that offers a promise to minimize the symptoms associated with any number of these pervasive conditions or syndromes. We see this every day, people crossing over the line from not using cannabis to cannabis and finding that they can finally find relief to something. And I think at a minimum in this room, we can all believe that cannabis will serve the population and these millions of people better than anything that they're buying at GNC. These are the Americans that I'm referring to. To us, these and others represent the emerging health and wellness market. The health and wellness market, to us, is my mother, your father, your lawyer, your accountant. It's the folks that are still concerned about the stigma. It's the folks to whom discretion is very important, safety, trust, the things that are important to them in the adjacent segments that they already spend tons of their dollars. This market takes a different approach, but will be well worth it. In our opinion, may one day dwarf the recreational market in addressable terms. With this in mind, last year we launched the first digital healthcare platform for medical cannabis, offering online consults, advice, and a trusted overall destination for health and wellness patients, as we set out on our audacious goal to create the most recognizable brand in the segment. Today, the HelloMD platform consists of 3 core components that combined we expect one day to empower millions of people to experience the benefits of therapeutic cannabis. It started last year with the launch of the industry's first virtual doctor service. We did this on a very straightforward premise: connect people 7 days a week from any computing device over video in a way that provides discretion, convenience, safety, and offers a credible patient-doctor dialogue that successfully on-ramps consumers into the marketplace. So far, it's been a huge success. I think it's because we kept it simple. We offered it for $49, and perhaps the most important, particularly for this segment, is our patients can talk at any time to a live agent to have their many questions and concerns addressed. Fortunately, I'm losing my pages. Fortunately, the numbers have also told a very good story to date. In February, we just broke for the first time $100,000 in monthly revenue, with margins not far from 70%. The big picture, though, for us is that we are now adding registered members at a clip that will see us surpass a community of 100,000 members before this year is out. And by the way, we convert registered members to paying customers at about a 30%, if not more, clip. Our success so far, though, has much to do with the vast array of partners we have developed over the last year, which brings me to the second core component of the platform. We quickly recognized that the recommendation process created enormous sales friction for the growing number of cannabis service providers in California, for starters. In this, we saw a unique opportunity to embrace the ecosystem. We offered easy and free to deploy partner tools that quickly integrate a branded version of our teleconsult feature into partner websites and into their CRMs, turning the recommendation from something that has traditionally broken the sales process in two to something that provides control and leverage in improving customer acquisition and retention. Partner patients, new and existing alike, get convenient access to consults, share their records with partners, sign collective agreements, and all of this can be transferred dynamically into their CRMs. The net, a clearer path to revenue. Today, HelloMD is live and running with more than 40 partners and many more taking advantage of our self-serve approach every week. I've had the great opportunity to get to know many of them, including the industry pioneers behind Speedweed, who will share the stage with me a little bit later, who are our first strategic partner to launch last summer. We've been very lucky to work and learn from them and all of our partners across the state. Still, even with the increasing choice of outlets and all of our respective partners and other service providers' efforts to educate their customer communities, for the average health and wellness consumer, cannabis remains an enormous puzzle, even akin sometimes to receiving a blank prescription. We know this problem exists. We know it because we get asked questions by thousands of patients every month. We also know in any emerging market, people want answers to their questions that they can believe in. People want to hear the same answer twice before they dive in, before they increase their expenditures, and certainly before they influence others to do the same. So while we have found that excellent advice is indeed available across the industry, from bud tenders, growers, consultants, doctors, and others, the problem is that it lives scattered across a highly disaggregated set of channels. So for us, the best way to solve the problem, crowdsource a centralized, trusted source for information and advice, and offer it in a pervasive and interactive format online and in mobile. This brings me to the latest and third component of the HelloMD platform. Early next year, we will launch a centralized home for patients and experts across the spectrum and geography of the industry to enable patients anywhere, 24 hours a day, to access trusted information to their wide range of questions. And as importantly, we will enable experts of all kind, again across the industry, again from anywhere, to establish presence, strengthen their brand, position their expertise, and interact with prospective patients. This service, the core of cannabis, if you will drive big spikes in traffic for HelloMD, will create unique monetization opportunities going forward. But first, in turn, it will greatly expand access for all in the ecosystem to this valuable health and wellness consumer segment. This brings me to our investment opportunity. We're based here in California, and the state has offered us a very rich training ground to date, and we will continue to accelerate our presence and our revenue here. But our sights have always been set on additional markets. Now, with the core components in place, we have the wheel we feel to spin across the U.S. and beyond. Be it offering formal prescriptions, be it real-time advice from practitioners, be it access to our ecosystem of leading service providers, or now ongoing opportunities for personal advice, this is a formula that will travel. We also feel well-positioned within the field of companies vying for, in their own ways, to be the center of gravity in cannabis. We think it's unique to be able to offer each of the important constituents in the industry their own value proposition: patients, doctors, service providers, brands of all kinds, and invariably the other important constituents who will find their way into the industry in the coming months and years. And as a company that does not touch the plant and will not, border crossing and rapid scaling, we believe, will come easier to us than to others. For this, we have bootstrapped the company to get this far, and we reached essentially cash flow positive, I like to say, in early Q4 of last year. We're now raising $1 million or more and looking at several alternatives, including today, to do so. We've had advanced discussions with several funds, including those who have shown great interest in taking us public. We're tracking now to exit 2016 at a run rate of close to $3 million and at least double that 1 year later, and maybe more depending on the amount of funding that we secure in the coming months. That said, our focus has been and will continue to be on acquiring our target consumers and delivering the great products we believe are necessary to empower millions of them to experience therapeutic cannabis. In our segment, where trust will be so important, we expect retention and monetization opportunities to be abundant. After a year, or almost a year of doing this, which feels like 7 in cannabis years, we're confident that we know where to